So here is my brown paper, and I'm going to be sketching on my brown paper with my marker. I've used the pencil to trace out what I need, but I'll be using my marker to pull you through of what I've done here. So the first thing I'll do, I'm going to be coming down half inch. This will serve as our guideline or the shoulder line, right? This will not be the center front, right? So I'll be going in my neck width. So I'll be using the neck width of 3.5. Then I'll mark my shoulder divided by 2, which is 8 inches. I'll mark it here. Then I'll be coming down my chest line, which is 9 inches, which is there. Then I'll also be marking, I'll be coming down for my slope at this shoulder line here. I'll come down for the slope 1 inch. I'll go up half inch. That will serve as the shoulder seam allowance. Then I'll connect it to this neck width. The reason why we came down half inch is to have our shoulder seam allowance, so the slope to join it to the back. So this is it now. So this is the half inch. Now I'll be on this chest line. Now I'll be marking my shoulder divided by 2, the same what I have here. I'll mark it here, which is 8 inches. Then I'll connect this straight. So this will become our armhole depth, right? And this line this way will become our chest line. Now I'll be marking down for my neck depth for the front. The neck depth for the front, I'm going to be making use of 3.25. Then I'll be coming down, the chest is 9, remember. Then the bust point is shoulder to bust is 11.5. Then to under bust is 15.75. Then the half length is 18 inches. Then I'll mark it there. So I will make this into a straight line. So let's label them. So this is our chest line, this is our bust line, this is our under bust, and this is our waistline, right? So this is the under bust line. So having done that, I'm going to be marking on this chest line here. I'll be marking my bust circumference divided by 4. So my bust circumference divided by 4 is, so I'll mark the 10 inches here this way, right? So ignore this, so it's 10 inches. Then I'll mark from the slope to the chest, what is remaining is 8 inches. So I'll mark the midpoint, which is 4. Then from that midpoint I'll be coming in 0.75, which is here. Then I'll use my ruler to connect it this way. Then I'll use the curving part to connect it to the chest line this way. So that's it. So this is our armhole curve, right? Now the next thing I'm going to do, this is my bust circumference divided by 4, which is 10. Then I'll come to my waist. My waist circumference divided by 4 is 9.5. So I'll mark it here this way. Then I will be adding 1.5 inches for that. I'll mark it here this way. Then I'll connect it this way straight up. So that's it. Now on this part here, I'll be marking my nipple measurement, my nipple to nipple measurement. So my nipple to nipple is 4.3. So I'll mark it here 4.3. I'll mark it here this way, right? So this is the 4.3. So I'll also have it on my bust line, right? 4.3. Then I'll connect it with a straight ruler this way. Now I'll be, remember we have taken that intake of 1.5, so we share it into 2, which is 0.75 on both sides, right? So we'll mark it here this way. So that's 1.5 inches, right? So we'll mark it here. Then we'll connect it to our bust. So this our dart leg, right? So connect it this way. Also connect it this way. So that's it. So I'm going to be determining where my sweetheart neck is going to stop, right, on the chest. Then I'm going to determine also how high I want it to be. So if you don't want your bust to reveal, and the only way you have to follow the guideline to have your bust cover, or if you want to review some of your bust parts, you have to follow the guideline. So the guideline is that you place your tape rule from your bust line to your under bust. Whatever you have, you rotate it this way. So you place it this way and you rotate it this way. So mine was, when I placed mine this way, I have 4.25. So I'll come up this way and I'll mark the 4.25 this way, right? So that's it. So then from my guideline, my shoulder line, I'm going to measure down where that is. So when I measure it down, I have 7.25, which is here. So that's 7.25. Now I'm going to make it a straight line here this way, right? So now I'll be connecting this to my chest line. So on my chest line, I want it to the sweetheart neckline to a bit come down from the chest line. So from that chest line, I'm going to be coming down 1/2 inch, right? If you want it to be deep, that means you have to go down almost to your bust, but I don't want it to be too deep, so on the chest line is fine. So I came down 1/2 inch, then I will use my curve ruler to connect it this way. So you can use a freehand too if you want, but I'll just make use of this curve ruler because it's giving me what I want. So I'll connect it this way. So that's it. Then I'll blend it to the armhole area, right? So I'll place my curve ruler to this way, then I'll blend it to the armhole area this way. So that's it. So it's going to come this way like this and come like this to the armhole area and come down this way. So this is what I have and I'm okay with it. Now to contour the under bust, what I will do is that I'm going to mark the midpoint of my shoulder here. I'll place it this way, then I'll fold my tape into to this way to get the midpoint, right? So this is the midpoint of it. Then I'll connect it to the bust apex, right? Connect it this way. So that's it. Then on this part here, I'm going to be coming in 0.75 on both sides. Then I'll connect it back to the chest line this way, right? So I'll connect it this way. Then I also play this way too and connect this way. So you make sure that this part here is not sharp, because this is your bust line, right? Now after connecting that, then I'll come to the under bust. I'm going to, you can measure your under bust round, yeah, the circumference of your under bust, you measure it round. Then what you have, you place it here. So when you place it here, what is remaining here, you remove it from this under bust. So what I'm doing is that from this dot line here, I'm going to go out 1.25. Then from this other dot leg here, I'm going to come in 0.25 this way, right? So I'm okay with that. So I'll be connecting it this way, and I'll curve this way, and place my curve ruler this way. Then I'll connect it to the bust line this way. Then I'll use a straight ruler to connect the under bust to my waist this way. So that's it. So make sure that all your points are not sharp. Just smooth it so that it will not be sharp. So it'll be easy for you to sew. So then for my bust dart, I'm going to come down from my bust line 1.5 inches. This 1.5 inches, I'm going to be removing it from the back pattern, right? So the length of this front will be longer than the back with 1.5 inches, which is what I'm doing here. Removing from here so that this part here can be aligned with the back. Hope that is clear. So this is all we need for the pattern. Now for the yoke, now we are going to be drafting the yoke. So for the yoke, what I will do is that, remember we've came down from the neck depth. So let's connect the neck depth of 3.5 by 3.2, right? So this is it. So from this neck depth, I'm going to be coming down ½ inch this way. Then I'll place my, then I'll also come down on my chest line here. I'll be coming down 1½ inches. So remember that the yoke is going to lap on the bustier, right? So it's not going to be sewn in, it's going to be lapped. So that's why I'm coming down from my chest, right? So I will use my ruler and connect it this way. So that's the yoke. So this part here is the yoke, right? So what I will do is that I will trace this part out, right? I will trace this part out. So remember, see the way the connection is coming. So meaning that this yoke now is going to be on top of this, and this sweetheart neck is coming like this. So it's going to be on top of this area here, right? So we'll cut this out. So I will use my tracing wheel now. I'll be using my tracing wheel, place another brown paper under, then I'll trace this yoke out this way, right? I'll trace it out this way, trace it out this way, right? So this is the yoke. Then after which I'll come back and cut this way, cut it this way, this way, this way. Then so this is what we have after tracing it out, right, on another brown paper. So this is it, right? So remember to still add your ½ inch too on the yoke area. So this is what we have, right? So on this my yoke now, when I want to cut it from my lace, I'm going to be adding the allowance to join to the armhole here. I'll add it here, right? Then also add my side seam allowance on this part. So remember, we are going to add side seam allowance on this area. Then we've already add to the shoulders, right? So the neck too, if you want, you can still add, but I will just leave it. Then I will be sewing it with 1/4 inch since I'm going to be using bias to turn it. But this part, I'm not going to add anything. I'm going to be using the lace edge to cut on this part. So let's keep this aside, then cut this fabric, this pattern out. So I'll be closing my side dart. After you close the bust dart, then you have to connect this line for any shortage that you have. Then you connect it up this way. That's it. So now I can now cut through this way. So this is our pattern, right? Then this is the yoke. So the yoke is going to be lapping on this, as we have said. It's going to be on it this way. After we finish sewing, it's going to be on it. So this is for the front. So let's draft for the back. 1½ inches for my zip seam allowance. I'll connect it up this way. So this is for my zip seam allowance, right? Then we're going to be coming down for the chest line. So our chest line is 9. Then we're also going to be coming down for the bust line, which is 11½. Then remember that the length is 18½, is 18 inches, right? The half length is 18 for the front. Now for the back, we are removing 1½ inches away. So that means that will give us 16.5, right? So I'll make this line this way, straight line this way. Now I'm going to, on this waistline here, I'm going to remove the excess at the zip, the back, the center back, right, so that my zip can relax. So this is 1½ inches that we remove for the zip seam allowance. Then I'll divide it by 2, which is 0.75. This 0.75 now, I'm going to be, from this zip seam allowance, I'm going to be going out, replace with ½ inch, right? So I'll connect this up this way. what is going on. Then this is our zip seam allowance. This part here is the zip seam allowance, right? Hope that is clear. So now we'll start the measurement. Now I'll come to this upper part here. I'll be coming down 1/2 inch. This will now serve as our guideline. Then from this zip seam allowance here, I'm going to be marking my neck width the same with the front, 3.5 inches. Then the shoulder divided by 2, which is 8 inches. We'll mark it here this way. Then we are going to be coming down for our slope of 1 inch, then go up 1/2 inch for the shoulder seam allowance. Then we are going to come down for the chest line, which is already here 9 inches. Now we are marking the midpoint of this, which is 4 inches. Then we come out 0.75 this way. Then we'll connect our arm hole this way. Then we'll use the curve ruler to connect this part this way. Then we connect our shoulder slope this way. Then the 1/2 inch for shoulder seam allowance this way. Now I'm going to be marking my bust circumference divided by 4. Remember, it's 10 inches. We'll mark it here. Then on the waistline, my waist circumference divided by 4 is 9.5. We'll also mark it here this way. Then we'll also mark our for the dart. So I will remove that of 1 inch. Then we'll mark it there. The dart intake is 1 inch, so disregard this. So the dart intake is 1 inch, so I've marked it there too. So we'll connect it this way. Now I'll be marking my nipple to nipple divided by 2, which is 4.3. So we'll mark it here too. This is the 4.3. Then we'll mark 1/2 inch on both sides, which is the 1 inch dart intake that we have replaced here, right? So we'll connect the dart leg to our chest line. The neck depth, I'm going to be using the neck depth of 0.75. Then I'll connect it to the neck width this way, right? The pattern out. So when I'm cutting it out, I'm adding 1/2 inch here, adding 1/2 inch here to join this together. We've already added our zip seam allowance. Then at this side, we'll add our 1.5 inches size seam to whichever seam allowance you want to use at the side. You add it here. Then you also add 1/2 inch too on this upper part to turn it with lining. Then also add 1/2 inch too on this down part to join it to the down part for the pattern. So let's cut them on our fabric. Then I'll come back to show you. Guys, I've already cut them on my fabric. Here are my patterns. I've cut them on my fabric, and this is for the front. So let's keep the back aside. These are for the front, right? So as I've mentioned, I've added 1/2 inch on this area here to join these two panels together. This is the center front, right? And it's cut on fold. And I've also add my 1/2 inch on this side and also on the down part to join it to the down part too. Also on this other part too as well, right? Then add 1/2 inch on the upper part. Seam allowance too at the side, right? So this is what I have. So I'm going to open it up. So this is my main fabric and I've ironed my wording on it, right? This is what I have. So I'm going to place it this way and I'm going to be sewing it from this area like this, like this, like this, then to the end, right? So this is for the main fabric. I'll do the same thing to the lining as well. Then this is for the back, right? For the back, I've also, this is the zipper allowance area. I've also added 1/2 inch to the down part and the upper part and the side to join these two together this way. And I've added my side seam allowance and to the down part and also to the upper part as well. So I will join all these pieces together on this area here, right? Then join the lining too at the same way. This is my skirt and I've also cut the straight pencil skirt, right? So I'm going to use the lining to turn it out. Then this is the net that I'm going to be making use of. So I'm going to be cutting the yoke on this part, right? So you can see that this lace does not have this cut lace does not have the edges, right? It does not have a really nice edges. So what I will do is that I'll work with what I have here. So this is the yoke for the front, right? So I'm going to be placing it this way. I'll place it this way like this because I want this edge to be on it, right? So I'll place it this way, and I'm going to be tracing it out like this, like this, like this, like this, like this. So then I'm going to be cutting some part of it on my skirt, and also I'll show you how I'll cut the sleeve as well. So let me do all of this, then I'll come back to show you. After joining the that line together, this is what I have. So you can see how beautiful it is, right? This is it on the inside. And I've also, as I mentioned, I cut my line, I cut my wording too alongside, then I'll stitch it on the main bodice, right? So this is what we have, and here is the lining as well, right? So I want to use the lining now to turn this upper part here. Note, I'm not adding the yoke to it, the reason being that the yoke is going to place on top of this bustier, right? So I'm just going to place it this way and make sure that this center point is meeting. Then I'm going to be sewing it with half inch all through. Then I'm going to be top stitching on the lining, then flip it inside. Now that is for the front. As for the back, this is what we have already. The back too, I've also joined the dart line together and even join it to the down part too, right? So the yoke for the back is going to sew in, right? So that's why I've already sewed the yoke to the back. Then this is the line for the waistline. After sewing the dart line here, then I join the panel, the back, the down part and the upper part together, line it separately and fabric separately, and that is what we have here. I did the same thing to the other side as well. So let's turn this front on, then I'll come back to show you. So here is the down part of the front. I'm just going to show you what I did here. So I placed the lace on it and I started it. The length of the skirt is, the length of the down part is so the length of the down part here is 42. I'll be removing 3 inches. I added 3 inches, so the total is 39, right? So I needed 3 inches. I'll use 2 to put it the lining, to turn it with the lining. Then I need half inch to join it to the upper part and half it to sew the lining on it this way. So the same thing too that I have for the length of the front part, the same length too I have for the back. Guys, I've already joined the upper parts the same way I did to the back side. I've already joined the upper part and the down part together. You can see my dart for the skirt part. I've also sewed my darts here, right? So I join in on the waistline, lining to lining, fabric to fabric. So we have it separately. Then I've also use the lining too to turn the neck, right? So this is what I have. So if I open it up this way, this is what we have on the inside, right? So we want to sew it inside as well. So what I will do is that I'm going to flip it this way. I'll flip it this way like this. Remember that the lining is shorter than the main Ankara, right? So I'll bring the lining this way. I'm going to be sewing with half inch, the normal way we sew our lining to turn the down part. So I'll sew with half inch. Now when you finish sewing it with half inch, if you bring it up here to make sure that it's equal on this armhole area here like this, when you bring it down, you make sure that the waistline of the lining and the waistline of the joining for the down and the upper part on the lining and on the main fabric is meeting together on this waistline here. Then you take it up this way. So by the time you take it up this way, you see that you have some part that will push up, that will push the Ankara up this way. So that's the turning, right? So you sew it with your quarter of an inch or half inch on both sides. So I will do that, then give it a good press and come back to show you. Guys, I've already finished using the lining to turn it all around. So let's see inside. So this is what the inside looks like. Very neat. There is no rough edging in any part at all to even whip, right? So this is what I was going for. So this is beautiful. So turn it to the right side. We'll be adding the yoke to this front part now, right? So I'll bring the yoke. So here is the yoke, guys. So what I'm going to do now is that I'm just going to spread it. You can see the way I've already, so this is, we've cut this part open, right? So you can actually cut this place to folded, whichever way you want it is fine. So I'm just going to place it this way. I'm going to use my bias to turn the neck, right? So you remember that we place it into the bustier, right? So we have to arrange it to enter into the bustier like this, and it has to bend like this, right? So it's coming into this and it's going to bend into the bustier like this. Remember that. Then we'll do the same thing to this other side too, this way. So just arrange it, make sure that the armhole is touching the bustier too like this, and follow the curve and bend down this way, right? So after which I'm going to, first of all, I can go ahead to top stitch on it, right? Just top stitch on it on this place. Then I'll be placing the back panel on top, right? I'll place the back panel on top like this. So this for the back, right? So place the back on it, right? The right side faces shoulder like this, right? Make sure that the armhole side is meeting. So this is for this side. Then I'm just going to make sure that this waist area to this line are also meeting here. Then I will place it, like you can see that the thing, it match, right? If you follow all the process, all your points will meet. So you place it like this, then you use your side seam allowance and sew the side to the down part, right? Then you do the same thing to this other side. So let me do that, then come back to show you. I've already finished sewing it at the side with my side seam allowance, then I've ironed it out too. So this is what we have, right? So what I want to do now is that I want to join the shoulders together of the front and back together, right? So I will place it this way. You see the way I'm placing it. Remember that the back side, I cut two of it, so I use the net to turn each other, right? So that means I have two for the back, I have one for the front. So I'm going to be using the back one to turn the front one. So this is what I want to do. This is the right side, this is the right side. We'll place them the first one together like this. This is back and front together. Then the remaining one back, which is the one that serves as the lining, I will use it to turn it this way. So I'll turn it this way. You can see the way I turn it, right? So I'm just going to go over to my sewing machine. Then I'm going to be sewing with half inch. I'll do the same thing to this other side as well. So guys, this is what I have after joining the shoulders. Here's what I have. So the next thing I'm going to do now, I'm going to be using my bias to turn the neck, starting from the back neck. I will use it to turn it. So I'll pipe it the way we pipe our neckline, right? So this front that is open, don't worry about it. Just place it like this. When you want to sew, just sew on top of it and continue along. So that's all. So after finished sewing it, I'm going to be turning it this way. Then I'm going to be fixing my zip, then leave my slits at the down part, and that will be all for this upper part and this dress. So the next thing I'm going to do is to cut the sleeve, and as you can see, that style, the sleeve is splash and spread, and it's going to be gathered, so it has a lot of details that I also want to share with you as well, but that will be in our next tutorial because this video is already too long. So I'm going to be uploading that one after I upload this one, so watch out for that so that you can also know how to achieve this sleeve on this dress. So thank you so much for watching my video. I'll be seeing you in my next one. I'll show you final results on this and even on the sleeve tutorial as well. All right, take care of yourself. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel and drop your comments on the comment section. Don't worry, I'll go through there and I'm going to be answer to all your questions, right? And just tell me how you feel about my tutorials as well. I love you.